Hi, everyone. I'm John, the race director for the Human Potential Running Series. This is the course preview for the Sangre de Cristo Trail Festival. The Sangre de Cristo Trail Festival is held yearly in West Cliff, Colorado in the month of September. The event features an 8-mile, a 27K, 50K, 50-mile, 100K, and 100-mile distances. This video is designed to just tell you a little bit about the course to help you have an understanding of where you're going and what you're doing and the ins and outs of how the course flows. This is for your safety. It's to keep you found. Thank you so much for engaging with this video, and I hope that if you're signed up for the race, you feel better prepared, and if you haven't signed up yet, it'll inspire you to want to come on down and join us in the Sangra. So let's hop in. First, a couple things I want to share with you is our race website. If you go to humanpotentialrunning.com, under the events tab, you're looking for Sangre de Cristo, click on it, and here's where you can find all the information about the event. We have this, every one of our races has this neat race stats graphic that allows you to check out the finer details of the elevation gain and loss, max elevation, minimum elevation, average elevation, all of that. And then, of course, down below, there's a link to the CalTopo map that we're going to use. There's a link to the printable maps. It's a PDF in the runner's guide that you can download, print out, bring that with you. We have elevation profiles, an aid station chart. But most importantly, we've got the runner's drive, which takes you here. In the runner's drive, again, are the aid station chart. This is going to tell you the mileage that you're at every time you reach one of these aid stations. It is approximate. It may be off a little bit. It shouldn't be miles off. I'm talking maybe a few tenths of a mile, which will add up over time the longer the race that you're in. I want to note here that there's no aid at Music Pass. D indicates where you can have drop bags. C indicates where you can have a crew. And P indicates where you can have a pacer. Also highlighted in red are the cutoff times for your leaving this aid station. This is not an arrival time. So what this is saying here in the 50-mile is that you must leave Horn Creek your second time through by 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. If you have not left Horn Creek 2 by 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, you will be disqualified from the event and removed from the course. Also, we've got like the average pace that you're allowed to move to finish within the cutoff of the race. For Sangre de Cristo, all of the cutoffs are incredibly generous compared to other races of their distance. That's not because of difficulty. It is because we want our sport to be more inclusive and accessible for runners of all abilities. Paying attention here that there's C1 and C2 in the 100-mile. That's explained on the website under crews, pacers, and spectators. So this is an important document. Also, the elevation profile, they're in order by distance. So 8-mile, you're going up the mountain and down the mountain. That's it. 27K, you do that same thing twice. Same mountain twice. The 50K, as I'll show you, you're going to do Music Pass, just like the 8-mile, and you're going to do an out and back along the Rainbow Trail. And when you come back to Music Meadows, you're going to be done. Same thing with the 50-mile. You're doing an out and back of Music Pass, and then you're going to go all the way out to Venable Aid Station and come all the way back along the Rainbow Trail back into Music Meadows. The 100K and the 100-mile is where things differ a bit. You're going to start with Music Meadows. You're going to go out and back to Venable, come all the way back to Music Meadows, and then you're going to do Music Pass one more time. That is for the 100K. And then in the 100-mile, you do a Music Pass. You go all the way out to Venable, come all the way back to Music Meadows from Venable. You're going to do that out and back to Venable and back to Music Meadows again. And then you're going to do one more hike up and down Music Pass. A lot of great information here on the elevation profiles, elevation, slope angles, aspect, tree cover, what kind of land cover is around from forest to shrub to grassland. All on there. Another valuable document. Here are our maps. You can download these and print them. Each of the course maps appears on this. This first one, this is the 8 mile and the 27K. It's the same course. You're either doing it once or twice. The 50K shows you doing Music Pass, and then you're heading out past the Colony Creek aid station to the Macy Trail. There's a trail there. There's a creek. You're going to turn around. There'll be a laminated sign there telling you that that's where you turn around, and then you'll come back in. This is for the 50 mile, 100K, and 100 mile. They're all on here. It explains how it works. We're going to go over that now so that it's clear to you all. Also, in the Google Drive is the personal runner navigation document. Tells you how you can use CalTopo, Colorado Trails Explorer, or Gaia GPS to live track yourself while you're out on the course. This helps you stay found. It helps you navigate. Colorado Trails Explorer is 100% free. There's really good cell service on this course. I think you only lose it on the up and back to Music Pass. So otherwise, while you're on the Rainbow Trail, which is the only real trail that you're on that out and back, if you're in the 50K or longer distances, you should be able to live track yourself for free utilizing these apps, but you still want to download these maps so that they're available. You download the app, everything is on here, how to use those. Also, at the bottom of this document is information on how you can afford your loved ones the opportunity to live track you while you're out on the course using your own technology. We do not provide live tracking services. That is not an aspect of the event. However, you can use your smartphone to allow your loved ones to live track you while you're out there. And that doesn't matter if you use an Android device or an Apple device. It's all in here. We welcome you to take a look at all that. Also, there is a folder here it says GPX files. If you click on that, there is a downloadable GPX file for each of the courses. They are updated. You can upload these files to your device, a watch, whatever it is, so that you can navigate the route using your device. So have at it. All of these resources are available to you so that you can navigate the course. As for this course preview, let's use our friend CalTopo. You can turn these layers on and off. You can use your phone. I'm going to turn all the routes off for now. I want to start with the 8 mile, and we're going to work our way up. One of the things that you can do here on the screen, you can see that I only have the 8 mile selected. And then to the right of that, looks like a stock market looking symbol. If you click on that, an elevation profile will pop up on your screen. Really cool thing that you can do is drag your cursor across either left or right, but as you drag your mouse cursor across this elevation profile, you'll notice a little pink dot on the route on the map. And that little dot coincides with where you are on the elevation profile. So this is one way that you can actually drag your mouse and see where the course goes. So here for the 8 mile, you start at Music Meadows. Again, this is Music Meadows aid station, and here's Music Pass. And if you're in the 8 mile or the 27K, you are only going up and down this mountain. So let's check it out. You leave Music Meadows. This is all on a US Forest Service road with varying levels of steepness. I think the highest I've seen so far is a 25% grade. I'm sure there's a spot where it gets even steeper than that. But as I drag the mouse across, you can see that it's guiding you all the way up to Music Pass. There we go, 28%. Ooh, good stuff. When you get to the top of the climb, you'll have climbed 2,224 feet in the first 4.1 miles. and you have a little bit further to go. So I'm going to zoom in so everybody can see this. Doesn't matter what race that you're in. But once you get up to the high point, now you're going to go downhill and kind of around the corner to the turnaround. The turnaround is actually at the wilderness boundary for the U.S. Forest Service. So this is you can't get a permit for an event like ours in a wilderness area. So we go literally to the wilderness boundary, a beautiful view of the mountains up here. And that is where, oh, that's a better map, kind of shows you what's going on. Let me see if 3D works. It does. Good stuff. So here you are, you come up and you hit the high point and you're just going to go downhill just a little bit. You can see that. And then if I zoom out, you'll be able to see this tremendous view that you'll actually have up there. This mountain ridge in the distance will be the Piece de la Resistance. I mean, there are few views like it in our sport. It's absolutely an absolutely stunning view. Okay, so that's the 8-mile race. And then you're just going to turn around. You'll grab a wristband there, by the way. We always have wristbands up there in a soft cooler. Grab your wristband, turn around, and now you're going to go all the way back down the mountain. All the way back down the mountain to Music Meadows. If you're in the 27K, you're going to check in at the aid station, and then you're going to leave and do that a second time. So the 8-mile, you do this once. The 27K, you do this twice. Everybody should be paying attention to the caution here. The Rainbow Trail, which the other distances are on that we're going to go over next, kind of travels through in this direction. So when you leave Music Meadows and you start up the road, you're actually going to get on to the Rainbow Trail at the Grape Creek Trailhead. There's a pit toilet there that you can utilize if you need the facilities. Also, we usually have porta potties here at the start-finish line. You'll be on the road with the Rainbow Trail, and then I put that triangle there because the Rainbow Trail leaves to the left, but you're going to continue on up the mountain. I just want you to be mindful of that. And then when you come back down, again, you're not getting on the Rainbow Trail. You have to come to Music Meadows. Again, the Music Meadows aid station location is also the start-finish line of the event. So if you're in the 8-mile, you're going up the mountain, you're coming back down the mountain, and you're checking into Music Meadows. Same thing, 27K, you're going to do that a second time. If you're in any other distance, the 50K, 50-mile, 100K, or 100-mile, all of those races start with this same going up and down the mountain to Music Pass. Every single one of you. Put some shading in here so you can see the relief a little bit better. Okay, so everybody starts by going up and down to Music Pass. Those of you in the 50K, 50-mile, 100K, or 100-mile, when you come back down the mountain, you folks must check into Music Meadows before you continue on the Rainbow Trail. You must check in. So quick, here's the 27K. You can see it's the same route. If I pull up that elevation profile, you're going to see that you go up and down, turn around and go do it again. If you want to get this information that appears here on the screen to be just a little more accurate, you can. What you're going to do is click this box over here on the right, not the X, but the one beneath it. This will pop up. Closer look. If you click on resample, and then you want this to say 25 feet, resample every 25 feet and click go. It redoes the loop route here and it corrects the elevation. Okay. What was it before? Well, let's check it out. 27K, says 4,563 feet of climb, 4,567 feet of climb. All right, let's resample that once every 25 feet, and it's 4,800 feet. That's quite a bit of difference. This is a more accurate profile, okay? You can do this with any of the distances. Okay, let's get to the 50K. So same thing as I was saying, the 50K will go up and down. You're going to go up and down Music Pass. And you're going to check in at the Music Meadows aid station. So I'll show you. Your cursor goes up the mountain, and then it's going to come back down the mountain. And you've got to go into Music Meadows, check in. And then when you leave, you're going to come here. And again, this is where the pit toilet is at the Grape Creek Trailhead. On the map, there's a little potty guy. So after you've done Music Pass, you've checked into Music Meadows, you're going to come back out, and you're going to come to this potty, this trailhead, and then you're going to turn right. We'll have a sign there. Sometimes the hunters like to F with it and it disappears. But at that point is when you're going to head out along the course. So you take the right, now you're on the Rainbow Trail. Rainbow Trail is a rolling trail. Looks like you got to climb here from this low point, right about there was that Crystal Falls Creek. From there to the high point just outside of Colony Creek aid stations, 2.6 miles, 771 feet of climb. Not the worst climb on earth, right? So anyway, you could see that you're going to check in and out of Colony Creek aid station, and you're going to keep moving to the north. So you're in and out of Colony Creek. You're still on the Rainbow Trail. You never leave the Rainbow Trail. You're going to go north, up and over all these little ridges, creek beds, and everything. And then you're going to come to Macy Trail. So you can see here, it says Macy Trail. Macy Trail comes from this direction. It's also the Rainbow Trail. And there is a creek here. And that is where we're going to put out the laminated turnaround sign. And when you get to Macy Trail, you turn around if you're in the 50K. Now, we do mid-race drop-downs here at HPRS. If you're in the 100 mile, 100K, or 50 mile, and you get to this turnaround, you're like, you know what? I'm not running as far as I thought I was today. I think I'm going to turn around here. You can do that. This is where you must turn around, though. You're going to turn around if you want to drop down to the 50K. When you get into the finish line, we will give you a finisher's award and put your name and time in the results for the 50K. That way you're not a DNF in whatever longer distance that you did, okay? So again, if you are in the 50K, you turn around at Macy Creek, turn around, and you're just unwinding everything you just did. You're running along the Rainbow Trail, coming through Colony Creek, and you're going to head all the way back in to Music Meadows, which is the finish. You do not go back up Music Pass again. You only do that once. You did it at the start. You're done with it. So you're out and back on the Rainbow Trail, and you're done. Also, there's another caution spot right here. That's because there is some kind of road in this area, and I think you can see it. It kind of comes up here, and it ties into this trail. And a lot of folks see it, and they get sucked down, start down the hill. I put this here to warn you that there's something there. It's not for you. Don't take that road. You stay on the Rainbow Trail. Okay? Well, let's zoom out. Oh, I don't want that. Sorry. Let's take a look at the 50 mile. Okay, 50 milers, same thing. Here's your elevation profile. You see how it gets really crowded here. It says no. That's where I have these no's on the map. So let's turn the cautions off. So to do that, you could just click on that. Now they're gone. And then when I pull this up the next time, those are all gone. And all you can see are where the aid stations are, or the points of interest. We got Music Pass, Music Meadows, Colony Creek, Horn Creek, Venable, Horn Creek, Colony Creek. Okay, so they're on there. Our elevation gain and loss says 9590. Let's put that 25 feet up. The smallest interval possible for this is 50 feet because it's so much longer. All right, that's fine. Still corrects it quite a bit. Adds like 1,700 feet of climb. This is accurate, 10,705. All the numbers we've published on our website, including the elevation charts in the on the elevation profile sheet, have all been corrected to this. Okay, so these are accurate. Again, you do Music Pass one time. You're out and back on the Rainbow Trail, but you're going all the way to Venable. So let's just drag our mouse. You can see here on the bottom, you're going up to Music Pass, all the way back to Music Meadows. You have to check in. Come back out up the road, you get on to the Rainbow Trail and you start heading north. You'll go past Colony Creek Aid Station. You also get here to Maisie Trail. That's where the 50K turned around. If you're in the 50 mile, you're not feeling it. This is where you turn around to drop to the 50K. Otherwise, keep heading north and you will head into Horn Creek Aid Station. I'm going to zoom in on this in a minute. Then you're going to turn around and come back out, head north back on the Rainbow Trail, and you're going to come all the way to the last downhill to head into Venable. You check into Venable Aid Station, you turn around, start heading back. You have to go downhill to Horn Creek every time. Even if you don't need aid, go to Horn Creek. That's included in your mileage. Check in, check out, back up the hill, head south on the Rainbow Trail. You'll again head through Colony Creek Aid Station, and you'll, just like the 50K, you're going to come all the way in and finish at Music Meadows, and you're done. Now, before I get to those areas to the north that I want to point out to y'all, I'm just going to bring up the 200 mile doesn't happen anymore, so let's just get rid of that. But the 100K and the 100 mile are also here. They follow the same exact route as the 50 mile with some variations. So here's the 100K. Again, you can open it up, resample. 25 feet is going to be too short. It says we got to do 50. That's fine. Here's your updated information, a lot more of an accurate elevation profile for you, okay? But we want to have that on our screen, and I'll show you again. You're going to go up and down Music Pass. You go all the way north to Venable, just like you go through Colony Creek. You're going to check in and out of Horn Creek. Here comes our dot, in and out of Horn, all the way to the north, in and out of Venable. Come back down, in and out of Horn. South, you're going to go through Colony Creek Aid Station again. You're also going to check in and out of Music Meadows. Now here, if you're in the 100K, you're at mile 50 and you can be done. And if you're done, you get a finisher's award. We put your name and result in the 50 mile results and we're good. However, if you want to continue on and finish that 100K, you can. You're going to go up and down Music Pass one more time. So here you go, up to Music Pass and back down to Music Meadows. That is the 100K. It is a little bit short. We're at 59 miles is what your watch will probably say. 59, probably be closer to 60. Again, GPS, not entirely accurate. Neither are these maps. Maps they're close, but they're not perfect. So you're going to be closer to 60 miles on this, okay? But still a little bit short. Sorry about that. And then in the 100 mile, the only difference here, obviously much, much longer. Let's correct this. 18,897. Try 25 feet. Well, it's much longer. It says we're going to have to do 100 feet. All right, let's do it. And it's still 18,897. Okay. 101 miles. What's different? Well, in the 100 mile, you're going to go up and down Music Pass, check in at Music Meadows. You're going to do this out and back to Venable, and you're going to come all the way back down to Music Meadows. Now, if you're in the 100 mile, here you can say it's mile 50. You could be done. You can drop to the 50 mile, your name and your result, your time goes into the 50 mile results, you get a finisher's award. Or you could say, I'm going to do one more up and down. Oh, no, that's it. You can drop to the 50 mile here. Okay. But then you got to go back north. Well, actually, what you can do now is you can drop to the 100K. That's right. You can drop to the 100K and say, all right, I'm at mile 50. I know the 100K is just one more up and down a music pass. So I'm going to go do that. And then we'll give you a finisher's award and put your name and time in the 100K results. Or if you're going to stay in the 100 mile, you're going to go do this out and back to Venable one more time, the whole thing. So you're going to go all the way north, all the way out to Venable, come all the way back. At this point, there's no more drop downs. You're locked in. You come all the way down and you go up and down Music Pass one more time to finish the 100 mile. So the 100 mile is that 50 mile out and back 2 times in a row. And then another Music Pass. Okay? There's options. No stress. It's just running. I want to put these cautions back on. We've already talked about this one here in the south, which is the Rainbow Trail, cautioning you that the Rainbow Trail heads off further to the south. That's not for you. To remind you that when you come through this area, you have to come in and out of Music Meadows before you continue every time. We talked about this one, warning you about this little road that's easy to suck you downhill. That's not for you. In fact, anytime you are heading downhill into the grasslands from the east or to the east, you messed up. The course doesn't do that except for one place, and that's to get in and out of Horn Creek Aid Station. So any other time, and I'm going to talk to you about Horn Creek so you can know what the differences are, but any other time, you're not going to the east down the hill precipitously. You're just not. Along the way, you're also not going uphill further into the mountains. You're on the Rainbow Trail. But this is where it gets tricky, is right here, Horn Creek. As my computer's memory catches up. So you're on the Rainbow Trail, coming from either Colony Creek from the south, or maybe you're coming in from Venable to the north, okay? I want to show you what's going on here. If you're coming in from the south, you are going to take the first right that you come to. There'll be a laminated sign. We put one out here. And I will tell you that every year, a hunter or a local or somebody removes that sign. As soon as we find out it's been removed, we go and put one back out. We do our best. But it's very likely that at this junction, there's no more laminated sign. Either way, you've got to go in and check into Horn Creek Aid Station. It is downhill. It's very rocky. We're talking baby heads, some chicken heads the entire way. Okay? On this satellite image, you can see that there's a lot of like other trails, like old trails. You see this trail comes out of the mountain and then it just kind of, there's no line on the map, but it keeps going. Yeah, it's been there before. People still want it to be there. It's an illegal social trail. That is not for you. Also, if you miss this turn and you get further down the trail and you're like, oh, this just goes down into Horn Creek, you can get in going that way. You can also, it comes all the way down and you can come up this way. You've come into this aid station from the wrong direction and you will be turned around. And what you've got to do is you've got to come back out and you've got to come in the right way. So you're getting bonus miles. They're free on account of your mistake. And you're still going to end up doing this. So this is not for you. Do not use that trail. Do not use any of these little social trails. That's not where the route goes. Same thing when you're coming back from Venable, when you're coming back from the north, you're coming in from Venable. You do not take the first turn, the first left. You don't. You got to go past that. Keep going until you get to the proper left-hand turn. And you take this to go in to Horn Creek Aid Station. Now, some of you are going to be coming back from Venable. It's not too far away. You just got aid. You just got what you need. You're coming back from Venable, and you're going to be like, I don't need aid. So, and I really hate this trail going into Horn Creek, so I'm going to skip it. You will be a DNF. This is the course. You must check into Horn Creek no matter what. So even if you don't need aid, come in, say hello, tell them your number. They've got you. Great. I don't need anything. Off you go. And keep on going. But just a warning that it is a very long way from Horn Creek back to Colony Creek, and it would benefit you greatly to make sure that you get aid at this location. And to highlight that for you, I'm going to pull up the elevation profile here on the 50 mile. And on this page, I'm going to show you, here's Horn Creek and here's Colony Creek. It is 9 miles. And it starts with this massive climb. And even though you're done, there's some downhill in here, it feels like uphill the entire time. That is a dramatic climb. It is a crux of the race. Runners, remember it, never forget it. It's a huge part of what we're doing out there. Okay. Let's keep going. I know there's some more up here in Venable. This area's got a lot going on. Come on, map. Catch up. So again, when you're coming in here from the south, there's quite a number of little social trails that want to sucker you into coming down to Venable Comanche. You might even see signs, Forest Service signs that say Venable Comanche. Here's another trail that comes down. There's, if I zoom in on this with this map just a little bit more, you can see cut through the forest is this little social trail. There's another one over here. There's an actual trail right here. There's another one right in here. There's a campground here. That's what's going on. There's a campground. This is a camping loop. This is probably a walk-in camping loop. And out of this campground, people are choosing their own adventure and going whichever way they want to go to get out to the Rainbow Trail. And so there's all of these little social trails that run in, and none of them are for you. That is not the course. Again, all the way to the north, there's another trail that cuts across. Not for you. But all the way to the north, there will be a laminated sign right here that tells you that this is the way to get to Venable Aid Station. This is the Venable Trailhead, Venable Comanche Trailhead. And then when you leave Venable, there's another laminated sign telling you to take a left onto the Rainbow Trail. And yes, sometimes this sign is removed by hunters or locals or whoever it is. But you want to come all the way to the north to this junction and not any of these other little social paths or actual trails. Even though you see a sign that points you, Forest Service sign says Venable. Congratulations, good for you, you can read. But that's not the way to go. You've got to keep going on the Rainbow Trail until you get to this last one that tells you to come down. Okay? Forgive my sarcasm.
You're goddamn right.
Okay. So that is our course preview for the Sangre de Cristo trail runs. These are all of our routes, how they use the Rainbow Trail and the road up and down Music Pass. This is just one of the many resources that we have. You can use this to export KML and GPX files. You can create your own. I know a lot of folks like to have the aid stations on there. So just get rid of these caution. Say I'm running the 100 mile and I want to make sure I've got the 100 mile route and all the aid stations on it. Well, there you go. Download GPX and that'll get you all the information that you need. If you have any questions, feel free to email. Other than that, it would be an honor and privilege of mine to be your race director, and we'd love to see you at our annual Sangre de Cristo Trail Festival on the eastern flank of the Sangre de Cristo mountain range in southern Colorado, just outside of West Cliff, Colorado. You can learn more about this and all of our other events on our website, www.humanpotentialrunning.com. For the Human Potential Running Series, I'm Race Director John LaCroix. I hope to see you in the Sangre.